Okay, so we didn't record the instructions on Git, but I did paste it in the channel, and here it is. Is this shared? No.
Yep, we're able to see it.
You're able to see it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'll just keep it full screen. And it is a Slack channel. Here it is for the video. And hopefully it's clear enough. This is how you're going to be turning in your work. This is how you're going to be starting each assignment. Each assignment has its own repository already created. You're going to fork it. Then you're going to clone it. And it should have your username instead of Juliett Platoon. You're going to cd into that folder that the git clone command created. And git status all the time. Git status is like ls for me. Whenever I cd, I ls, just to take a look around and kind of make it like a GUI for me. Same with git status. Okay. So GitHub. When you go to someone's GitHub profile, you might see a nice picture. You don't need a picture on GitHub. It's kind of like Facebook for developers. You'll see this calendar here. I kind of ignore mine and it looks really bad, but you can see how many contributions someone's made. Part of the reason we have you fork it is because it gives you more green on your GitHub calendar. You can see that like this person's been a developer for quite some time, and they have, in 2016, they worked mostly Monday through Friday. And you can see contributions. Some of you might not have yours showing up because we're in a private repository. If you go to your settings, you should have, I don't know how to do that off the top of my head, but you can probably Google how to do that, or we can do it together.
So you don't want it to be private?
There's an option to where if you do something in a private repository, it'll still show up on your calendar. Yeah.
The goal is to get that thing looking like a bright green Christmas tree.
Yeah, the whole thing should be green. On the weekends too.
So should I change my name?
Your name? I mean, I think it's fine. It's a little long, but I mean, I think that's one of its strengths, maybe. I don't know.
Really, it sticks out.
Okay, and I think you could change it. Okay, so we're gonna go over, let's say, Python fundamentals. I wanted to iterate through an array. Probably the most important thing, important skill is to know the keywords to search. You have to know the lingo of iterate. We iterate through loops. How to do these things you have to use the right terms and search the right terms to get the right results. And if you can do that, you really can be a developer. How to loop within it. This is someone's personal website. Iterate over a list, over arrays. I like Stack Overflow. It's probably my favorite, but you have to know how to use it. So the way you use Stack Overflow, theoretically, you're supposed to read this. For me, that makes Stack Overflow incredibly painful. I skip the question and I just go to the answer and see if the answer makes sense to me. If the answer does not make sense to me, if I say, I have no idea what this is, then I go back to the question. Then I go back and I say, maybe they're using Windows, or they're using something different, and or they're trying to do something different. Their question doesn't relate to me. then I know I can just leave. But if there's a green check, that's a really good thing. That means that the community has accepted this answer for this question. Whenever you see things with more votes, that means that more people think that it's a good answer. If it has none, then nobody thought it was a good answer. Well, someone might, but nobody voted on it. This is the accepted answer. So I'm going to say this is how I iterate through an array. In Python, it would be a list. But
So arrays are called lists in Python.
arrays in JavaScript are lists in Python, yeah.
And Mike, one thing that I found starting to learn Python, it's really important you say Python 3 and not
Python 3
right.
and not Python 2.
Because it seems there's two distinct versions out there and they don't work well.
Yeah, so Robert was saying that it's important to say Python 3 and not Python 2. And that's part of the skill of searching here. I just said Python. I didn't specify. Whatever technology you're working with, you can just throw in here. If you're not getting the results you want, if it's too vague, you're seeing questions that don't apply to you, put in the technology you're working with. That's always a good thing. And then the next thing is learning the lingo that you're supposed to be using. And if you pair program a lot and if you talk a lot with each other, you'll get that faster. Another trick is going to this tools button, and you can see this anytime popped up. You can say past year. For a lot of things in the web development world, past year is outdated. And if you're not seeing, I don't do that all the time, but if I'm not seeing what I want here, I might turn that on and see if it helped. Did it change? But yeah, W3 schools. Let's do something specific. What's something?
How to create a for loop in Python.
One thing that works everywhere, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you hold down the Alt Option key, you can skip words. This works in the command line, everywhere. Option.
Option. Were you tabbing or arrow?
I think it's the end of the line or the beginning of the line.
Beginning.
Like, what's the keyboard shortcut to go to the beginning of the line?
Oh, beginning and end of the line is command arrow. Command left and right.
Does it make sense? Thank you so much.
You should have your own cheat sheet that you build. Don't just rely on the other ones are too long. You can't go through it all. Find the ones you like and make your own cheat sheet. So I'm gonna go let's see. So everybody's still writing hotkeys.
You guys can worry about the shortcut command and stuff and like that later on. But like, just as you know, when you are developing, slowly figure that stuff out.
Just make your own cheat sheet. What I like about W3 schools is it has examples, and you can actually run them. And it'll have, later when we're doing HTML, CSS, it'll have examples there, and you can run them. This one is a little basic. I don't think you're very impressed, but But yeah, they have examples, especially with the HTML and CSS, JavaScript, sorting an array. Let's see. So try it yourself. You can have this try it yourself button, and it'll show you. I put the script in here. We should do that soon. So you can run it and try it. Banana, orange, apple, mango. And then I sorted it. And this is all the code right here that did that. This is the whole HTML page. Okay.
Another good resource is the Mozilla Developer Network, MDN.
MDN.
For JavaScript related built-in methods.
That's the official.
Yeah, that's the official documentation for JavaScript. That's, I don't know how to, what's the difference between a splice and a slice, like that built-in method. Mozilla Developer Network is.
MDN. This is the source of truth for what you can and can't do, but it is a little harder to read. Complete beginners.
Like they'll have like good examples for syntax. That's what I usually use. When I'm looking at something, I'm just looking for syntax. I'll go to TD. If I'm looking for a larger answer, I'll go to step.
But if you want to look for like built-in methods.
Hey, Mike,
Yes?
what was the first one you did? It wasn't W3 Schools or MDN. What was the one before that?
Stack Overflow is my favorite.
Stack Overflow, okay.
Stack Overflow is like engineers.
That's where all the answers are.
Say when coding or just like when building apps or even on your job, 80% of the time is going to be reading other people's code or finding out answers online. The other 20% is actual code. So software engineer's job isn't coding, solving a problem. That's all we do. Solve problems. Doesn't necessarily mean that we be coding 8 hours a day, 6 hours a day, looking for the answer.
Yeah, the time you spend on surfing through Stack Overflow and other things and researching is the majority of your time spent. The time you spend typing code is much less.
Like 1,600 people all in all. But I mean, here obviously, as we get more into the programming or into the curriculum, we're going to be more coding.
Yeah, coding is more about the research than the typing. So,
I got a question. Generally, is there a question of like integrity or anything like that? You copy paste, modify, is that kind of practice either?
So integrity, the question was about integrity and copying, pasting, and modifying. The issue with copy and pasting isn't so much about plagiarism as it is about practicality. If you copy and paste a lot of code, it's not going to work with what you have. It's just not going to be compatible. And it's going to be a giant headache compared to actually writing it from your own instead of copying it. But on the other hand, copy and pasting preserves the integrity of the text. So if you want to avoid a typo and you're following instructions for command line things, like you have to do the install fest again. Someone told you what command you have to write. That I copy and paste because I know that's going to do a better job and it's going to be faster than me typing it if it's very long.
I think the other concern with directly copying and pasting for code is that there are different styles in terms of how much you indent, where you put your brackets and braces, and copying and pasting like that. If your final product is copy and pasting code from 4 or 5 different styles of different people,
Styles and copying and pasting.
then it just makes the whole final product that much harder to read and understand.
Some people use tabs and some people use spaces. It's like an undecided war. And if you copy and paste tabs into, you don't want to copy and paste code so much. What I do though is when I have an example like this, I'll copy and paste it into my text editor. I'll copy and paste it in there, but only as a reference. I'll just look at it, and then over here in my actual code, I'm gonna be like, okay, so I want for bottles in for a bottle in for a number of bottles in range, something like that. I'm just gonna look and see what I want to type instead of actually using the code. And then after I'm done with it, I'll just delete it.
And there's no like citing other people's code like you would do in a paper or master's thesis statement. There's none of that. The problem's already been solved. Take that solution. And if there's a library that's already like solved your problem, use that library.
Oh, so we talked about, or we didn't talk about it, but you guys had to use libraries yesterday with npm, npm install. If you see a package lock or a package JSON file, don't worry about it. It's just keeping track of what libraries you're using. So when someone else downloads the code, and some libraries are really enormous. So if you are using a library that's 1,000 lines of code, you don't want to put those 1,000 lines of code on GitHub when somebody downloads it. So instead, they have a little package.json file that tells you which libraries you need. So that at that point, once you download it, you can npm install those packages, those libraries.
Are there any concerns with using libraries about licensing issues as to whether or not it can be used for commercial use or other things? Stuff.
I've never run into that issue.
Most of the stuff seems to be open source.
It'll just
Yeah,
run
open
npm,
source is good.
npm.com, and there'll be a bunch of open source libraries.
Open source can mean different things. Like the GPL in particular typically means that you have to provide all your sources available.
I've never run into that issue before.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking. I want to cover my own, but I don't want to.
By the time that issue matters, you can afford to hire a lawyer.
Mike, you said that was package.json?
Package.
What keeps track of all your libraries?
Yeah, it's when you do npm and create an npm initialize application, will create a package.json file, which will look like where all your dependencies are in regards to all your packages, how you run an application.
That's npm. We'll come back to npm later.
So yeah, not really relevant right now.
Okay, so I want everyone to practice cloning down repositories, making changes to your code, making multiple commits as you write your code, and making pull requests. And that's pretty much all I want you guys doing for the rest of the day.
So basically, we'll just work on the challenges up until like the third day challenges.
Yes, and up to including today.
And we should be doing both JavaScript and Python.
So if you look at the challenges, I think most of the first challenges are done in JavaScript, and then they'll go back and tell you to do the same challenge but Python. And as you clone the packages and to your repository, to your own repository, they'll have a JSON, or I'm sorry, a JS JavaScript file as well as a Python file. But the same.
So when you look at the curriculum and the day, I want all the challenges and homework done for these 3 days. So all of the things in there. I think everyone finished that day. And we need these 2 days. We need to catch up.
Are we working on this as pairs, or are we doing this just individually?
I would highly recommend pairing, but you are welcome to do it individually today.
Yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays, we are strictly pairing.
We're strictly pairing on Tuesday and Thursdays.
Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, kind of individually, but ideally, it's more like.
You do want to pair, really. You don't have to pair all day, but try to. to get talking about things, and that's where you'll get the lingo you need to search the right searches.